There was a precise moment in history when a spiritual kidnapping took place. It wasn't done with chains. It wasn't done with prisons. It was done with a dictionary. Imagine you are standing in a magnificent art gallery. You are looking at a masterpiece, a portrait of absolute perfection. But you aren't seeing the real image. For 2,000 years, you have been staring at it through a distorted lens, a thick, foggy pane of glass installed by architects who were terrified of what you might see if the filter was removed. They told you the blurriness was a mystery. They told you that you were merely a spectator. But you have never felt like a spectator, have you? Even when you sat in the pews or read the verses, something in your blood rebelled. A quiet, persistent glitch in the program that whispered, "I am not small. I am not separate. I am not from here." You are feeling that because the frequency of the truth is trying to break through. And the hammer specifically designed to shatter that glass is hiding in the last place you would ever look. Today, we are going to break the containment field. We are going to return to the Book of John Decoded, not as a religious biography that you must worship, but as a technical manual that you must execute. What we are about to uncover is the hidden teaching that the institution tried to bury under centuries of mistranslation. They hid the monad. They hid the Divine Logos. But mostly, they hid you from yourself. Warning: once you see the text without the filter, you cannot unsee it. The doctrine of separation ends here. Open any standard Bible to the very first page of the Gospel of John. You will see a sentence that has been recited in Sunday schools for centuries. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God. On the surface, it sounds poetic. It sounds safe. It paints a picture of a deity speaking the universe into existence through speech, through language. But this translation is not just an error. It is a containment wall. By translating the ancient Greek concept into word, the institution reduced a cosmic hyperdimensional force into something that fits on a page. They turned a frequency into a vocabulary. Let's look at the source code. The Greek term John used was not lexis, which simply refers to speech. It was logos. To the Gnostics and the ancient mystics, logos did not mean word. It meant the ratio, the divine reason, the organizing principle that holds the fabric of the multiverse together. Think of it less like a spoken sentence and more like the operating system of reality itself. When John wrote, "In the beginning was the Logos," he was revealing the first emanation of the monad consciousness. Before there was matter, before there was time, there was this infinite, intelligent structure. It wasn't created by God. It is the projection of God. Here is where the translation hides the true relationship. The text says the Word was with God. In English, with implies two separate things standing next to each other, like two people in a room. But the Greek preposition pros denotes movement. It implies orientation. Visualize a flame and the heat radiating from that flame. You cannot have the fire without the heat. They are distinct, yet they are one. The heat is perpetually with the fire, emanating from it, expressing it. This is the monad and the logos. The monad is the silent source, the unknowable depth. The Divine Logos is that source expressing itself outwards, ordering chaos into harmony. Why does this distinction matter to you? Because if the Word is just language, then God is a speaker, and you are just a listener. You remain passive. You remain separate. But if the Word is Logos, now we are talking about something else entirely. Not a sentence, a substance, a living field of consciousness. And as we will see, this field did not stay up there in the heavens. It didn't just write a book. It did something far more radical, something that terrifies the gatekeepers of dogmatic religion to this day. It poured itself into a vessel, and that vessel looks exactly like you. Now, the text takes a turn that changes everything. We arrive at John chapter 1, verse 14, the verse that acts as the fulcrum for the entire Gnostic revelation. And the Logos became flesh and dwelt among us. Standard theology teaches this as a singular miracle. They claim divine intelligence crashed into history exactly once, inside one man. They set Jesus on a pedestal so high that you can only look up in envy, never across in recognition. They made him the exception, but the Gnostic mystery reveals that he was not the exception. He was the prototype. Think of it this way. An architect designs a perfect city. That is the Logos, but looking at blueprints is not enough. He wants to walk the streets. He wants to feel the pavement. So the architect downloads his consciousness into an avatar within the simulation he created. When John wrote that the Logos became flesh, he was describing the nature of divine Logos itself. It seeks expression. It hungers to inhabit form. This is where the church hierarchy crumbles. Look at John chapter 1, verses 12 to 13. The text promises that those who receive this truth become children of God. The institution calls this adoption, a legal contract where God agrees to take in an orphan. But the Greek acts as a codebreaker here. The phrase used is ek theou e genethisan, which translates to born of God. This is not a legal term. It is a biological, ontological term. It means you share the DNA of the monad consciousness. The text clarifies you were born not of blood, nor of the will of the flesh. John is systematically stripping away your human identity. He is telling you, your parents gave you a body, society gave you a name, but none of those things are you. The real you, the observer behind the eyes, was not created in a womb. It was emanated from the source. This is the secret they couldn't allow you to internalize. If you are adopted, you are a subject. But if you are born of the monad, you are a fractal of the divine itself. You are the ocean in a drop. Jesus was not standing there to show you how small you are. He was standing there as a mirror, reflecting the hidden teachings of your own potential. He was the Logos fully awake, staring into the eyes of the Logos that was still asleep. You. When you understand this, the gospel stops being a story about a savior you must follow and becomes a story about a lineage you must accept. You do not worship the architect. You carry his blueprint in your blood. This brings us to the mechanism of the return. If you are the divine Logos in flesh, how do you remember it? How do you wake up? The manual is specific. In chapter 3, Jesus tells Nicodemus, "Unless one is born again, he cannot see the kingdom." Forget the water rituals. Forget the baptismal fonts. John is not talking about getting wet. He is talking about a psychological override. You are born of water. That is your physical entry into the matrix. Now, you must be born of spirit. That is the activation of the monad consciousness. It is the moment you stop identifying as John Smith, accountant, husband, and start identifying as the eternal witness behind the eyes. And the trigger code for this shift is 2 words, I am. In John chapter 8, verse 58, Jesus says, "Before Abraham was, I am." Notice the grammar. He didn't say I was. He said I am. The church interprets this as history, but Jesus is speaking about frequency. The monad does not live on a timeline. It does not have a past or a future. It exists in a perpetual, vertical now. When you say, I was, you are a body trapped in time. When you say, I am, you are spirit existing in presence. Let's stop talking about it. Let's feel it. We are going to calibrate your frequency to this truth right now. Take a deep breath. Stop looking at the screen. In your mind, strip away your name. Drop your job title. Drop your history, your trauma, your plans for tomorrow. What is left? There is a silent, observing presence behind your eyes. It has no age. It has no weight. It just is. That presence is the I am. That is the Divine Logos looking through you. When Jesus spoke those words, he wasn't bragging. He was demonstrating. He was showing you that the part of you that is real, the part that was there before your body was born and will be there after it fades, is the same essence that was in him. He was the tuning fork. You are the string waiting to vibrate at the same pitch. The tragedy is that for centuries, we worship the tuning fork instead of listening to the music. But be warned, once you activate the Divine Logos within you, once you begin to vibrate at the frequency of the I am, the simulation will notice. You may have noticed that as you seek the truth, your old life starts to dismantle. Friends drift away. Family members become strangely antagonistic. Situations that used to feel comfortable now feel like a suffocating cage. You might feel a profound, aching loneliness. As if you have been dropped onto a planet where no one speaks your language. You are not imagining this. And you are definitely not doing something wrong. You are experiencing exactly what Jesus predicted in John chapter 15, verse 19. He tells his disciples, "If you were of the world would love its own. But because you are not of the world, therefore the world hates you." The church reads this as Christians versus non-Christians. But the Gnostic mystery reveals the mechanics of the simulation. The world, or cosmos in the Greek, refers to the ordered system of control, the matrix. This system operates on a specific, low-density frequency: fear, division, and survival. When you are asleep, you match that frequency. You are camouflage. The system leaves you alone because you are part of the scenery. But the moment you remember your monad consciousness, you light up on the grid. You become an anomaly. You become a glitch. Think of the matrix like a biological immune system. When a foreign body enters, something that doesn't follow the rules of the host, the white blood cells swarm to attack it or isolate it. When you embody the Logos, you are the foreign body. You are the cure that the sick system perceives as a virus. The friction you feel with the people around you is not personal. It is energetic. They are unconsciously reacting to the light you are holding because it exposes the shadows they are hiding in. Your very presence forces them to confront their own sleep, and the sleeper hates to be woken up. So when the silence gets loud, when the circle gets small, do not panic. Do not try to dim your light to fit back into the old sockets. John is giving you the strategy for spiritual sovereignty. Do not seek validation from a system you were sent to dismantle. The isolation is not a punishment. It is a quarantine for your protection. It is the universe clearing the interference so you can hear the signal of the source clearly. You are not lonely because you are lost. You are lonely because you are the first one in your lineage to break the chain. You are the pioneer. And pioneers always walk alone before they build a new path. Stand your ground. The friction is proof that you are moving. We have arrived at the breaking point, the moment where the teaching becomes intolerable to the control system. In John chapter 10, verse 30, Jesus drops a sentence that acts as a declaration of war against spiritual slavery. I and the Father are one. The reaction in the text is immediate. The religious leaders pick up stones to execute him. Why? Not because he was a nice teacher, not because he healed the sick. They wanted to kill him because he dared to collapse the distance between the human vessel and the monad consciousness. The Church has spent 2,000 years building a theological firewall around this verse. They invented the doctrine of the Trinity to contain the damage. They told you, yes, Jesus is one with God, but that's a special case. He is the substance. You are the shadow. Worship him, but do not try to be him. This is the lie that keeps the pews full and the consciousness suppressed. Because if you read the book of John, Decoded to the very end, the firewall comes down. Turn to chapter 17. This is Jesus' final prayer. He is not speaking to the crowds anymore. He is speaking to the source. And in verse 21, he explicitly dismantles the idea of exclusivity. He prays for you. And what does he ask? That they may all be one, just as you, Father, are in me and I in you, that they also may be in us. Do not let the familiarity of the words dull their impact. He is not asking for you to be friendly with God. He is not asking for a metaphorical relationship. He is demanding fusion. He is demanding that the same spiritual sovereignty he possesses be transferred to you, just as implies an exact replica of the state of being. If the wave is one with the ocean and you are one with the wave, then you are the ocean. This is the terrifying secret of the hidden teachings of Jesus. The goal was never to create a religion about Jesus. The goal was to replicate the state of Jesus in every single person. The institution knows this. They know that if you realize you are merely a localized expression of the infinite monad, their power over you vanishes instantly. A God who lives in a temple needs a priest to open the door. A God who lives in your chest needs no middleman. The separation is over. The curtain is torn. The Father is not a distant ruler on a throne. It is the silent, black fire of the source, waiting for you to drop the mask and walk into the flame. The Gospel of John was never meant to be read. It was meant to be metabolized. For centuries, the institution held the book, but they lost the code. They built cathedrals of stone to house a God they claimed was distant, while the true temple, the Divine Logos, was walking around in flesh, beating in your chest, breathing your air. The filter is gone now. The mistranslation has been corrected. The secret is not that God became a man once, 2,000 years ago. The secret is that the monad consciousness is constantly becoming man, constantly becoming woman, constantly pouring itself into form to experience the beautiful, terrifying limitation of this world. You are not a sinner seeking a savior. You are the savior waking up from the dream of being a sinner. We are closing this transmission, but the work is just beginning. To anchor this reality, I invite you to perform a small internal act of sovereignty. Close your eyes for a second and repeat this silent mantra to the observer within. I am not the vessel. I am the contents. I am the Logos returning to itself. Feel the weight of that truth. It changes the way you walk into a room. It changes the way you look at a stranger. If this message found its mark, if you felt the resonance of the Gnostic mystery vibrating in your bones, then do not leave this space without leaving a trace. We are gathering the scattered sparks of the light. If you are ready to acknowledge your true nature, go down to the comments and write the code, I am the Logos. Do not write it for me. Write it as a digital inscription of your own awakening, a signal to the algorithm of the universe that you are online. And if you wish to continue this excavation, if you want to go deeper into the hidden teachings that the world has forgotten, verify your alignment by liking this video and subscribing to the channel. We are building the invisible school, right here in the open. The book is open. The glass is shattered. Welcome home.